What's up, everyone? My name is Rad, and I'm here today bringing you my guide on Beidou, aka She For Real Beidou, for 2023. I'll be going over her talents, skills, constellations, recommended weapons, artifact sets, and team compositions. I'll also give you my overall thoughts on her near the end of the video. I'm going to make all of my character guides as concise as possible, so we're looking at hopefully under 10 minutes for each one, but some might just be a tad bit over the mark. Quick note, these guides are not in depth. I don't go over hypothetical numbers, theories, showcase immensely high damage values, etc. They are more of a quick, generalized, straight to the point recommendation for these characters. The final result is to provide as much information within a condensed time period. Timestamps will be listed down below in the description. Without further ado, let's drop that transition. As always, combat talents up first. Oceanborn, this is Beidou's normal attack. There are also charge and plunge variations as well. Elemental skill Tidecaller, this is essentially a counter attack or parry. There are two variations, press and hold. With press, she swiftly swings her claymore and dishes out electro damage, generates 2 elemental particles. Now, there is a lot of text here to take in, so I will try to simplify it as best as I can. With hold, she lifts her claymore and uses it as a shield. The amount of electro damage dealt is dependent upon how many times you get hit during the stance, or if you let the skill expire. To achieve the highest amount of damage possible is best when you are hit twice during the stance. On the flip side, the amount of max damage you can mitigate is based upon X amount of Beidou's max HP. The entire hold duration is about 3 seconds. Overall, passive talents do add an extra component to this skill, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Cooldown is 7.5 seconds. Elemental Burst, Stormbreaker. Beidou goes Super Saiyan, creates an electro chi around her. Upon striking an enemy with a normal or charge attack, they will generate lightning discharges that bounce between enemies. At base or no constellations, there are 2 jumps and overall 3 hits if you include the first target. Example, targets 1 through 2 get hit, so 2 hits, and 1 jump, and then with another strike, it bounces back to target 1, so that's the 3rd hit and 2nd jump. You can also trigger them with ranged characters, but you need to be within a certain reach. Under her elemental burst, you will also receive resistance to interruptions and will mitigate the damage you take. Lasts for 15 seconds and has a cooldown of 20. Energy cost is 80. Passive talent Retribution. Basically, this adds another variation to her elemental skill, and now you are able to perfect counterattack or perfect parry. If you counterattack at just the right time when you are struck, you will deal the ultimate amount of damage from it. Lightning Storm. Upon perfect counterattacking or parrying with her elemental skill, her normal and charge attacks deal an extra 15% damage alongside receiving an extra 15% attack speed bonus. This will last for 10 seconds. Conqueror of Tides. Self-explanatory. Constellations, just some quick words. Constellations are not an absolute necessity for characters. They mainly just provide quality of life improvements and better enhanced skills, burst, or utility. We'll be skipping her C3 and C5 as they only provide 3 levels to her skills. C1, CB Scourge. Upon unleashing her elemental burst, it will now also create a shield. This shield is able to mitigate damage up to 16% based off Beidou's max HP. Also, you are able to mitigate electro damage 250% more adequately. C2, upon the turbulent sea, the thunder arises, adds an extra 2 bounces to her electro discharges. So before, it was from target 1 to 2 back to 1. Now it goes from target 1 to 2 to 1 to 2 and back to 1. It is now 5 hits and 4 jumps overall. C4, Stunning Revenge. Once you are attacked, her normal attacks, and even though it doesn't say it, her charge attacks as well gain an extra 20% electro damage bonus. The boost of electro damage gain is based off 20% of Beidou's attack. Now, for 5-star weapons, they are pretty limited as there aren't many overall claymores. Though the 3 that I recommend are Wolf's Gravestone, provides insane amount of attack. Its passive provides a base attack boost for 12 seconds to all party members that will trigger once you hit an enemy under 30% of their current HP. This can only proc every 30 seconds. Skyward Pride provides solid energy recharge. Part of its passive increases all damage as well. And the Unforge provides lots of attack, passive boosts shield strength by 20%, and upon hit on an enemy it increases attack by X amount for 8 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. While safeguarded by a shield, the attack boost effect is increased by 100%. Between these 3, my personal preference is a Skyward Pride, only because Beidou's elemental burst is a high cost. I personally am very big on energy recharge as a whole. For 4 stars, there is a good amount. So my recommendations are Sacrificial Sword, provides solid energy recharge. Passives will give you the potential to proc your elemental skill twice. This provides even more damage if you do back-to-back perfect counterattacks, alongside creating more energy particles. Rain Slasher provides, passive provides extra bonus damage against enemies affected by Hydro or Electro. Serpent Spine provides excellent crit rate. Its passive is a 2-edged claymore. pun totally intended by the way. It'll increase your damage, but at the cost of taking more damage. The refinements boost the damage more and alleviate the damage taken. The passive from Serpent Spine is also additive damage, so it applies to not just normal and charge attacks, but also elemental skill and burst. This is a paid option since you obtain the weapon from the battle pass. Black Cliff Slasher provides great crit damage, passive boost attack by X amount for 30 seconds upon defeating an enemy, stacks up to 3 times. Each stack has its own autonomous time period. This weapon is purchased from the Star Glitter Exchange. If you're free to play, then I'd say Katsuragikiri Namagasa provides solid energy recharge. Part of its passive increases elemental skill damage. This is a craftable weapon from Inazuma and is a solid choice. Artifact sets. Best 4-piece set overall for Beidou, in my humblest opinion, is Emblem of Severed Fate. Provides 20% energy recharge and boosts elemental burst damage by 25% of her overall energy recharge. A maximum of 75% bonus damage can be achieved. I'd say this is best for a sub DPS Beidou. If you're looking for more of a main DPS setup with easier accessibility and potentially easier to mix and match, then a combination of either 2-piece Thunder and Fury with Gladiators, 2-piece Gladiators Finale, or 2-piece Shimenawa's Reminiscence, you'll get 15% electro damage bonus alongside an 18% attack bonus. You can also switch out Gladiator or Shimenawa with 2-piece Noblesse Oblige. That'll give you a 20% increase to your elemental burst, though Noblesse doesn't boost her normal charge or counter, so keep that in mind. Main affixes to look out for are attack percentage on the Sands of Time or energy recharge depending on what you need more, electro damage on the Goblet of Yanatham, and crit rate or crit damage on the Circle of Logos. Minor affixes, in my opinion, are energy recharge first, then crit rate, then crit damage and attack percentage. If possible, try to also aim for a 1-to-2 crit rate crit damage ratio. Example, if you have 50% crit rate, then aim for 100% crit damage. Team compositions. Electro charge. Any combination of 2 electro and 1 hydro user. 4th slot can be your choosing. This composition excels in taking out multiple enemies. Superconduct. Any combination of 2 electro and 1 cryo user. 4th slot can be your choosing. This composition provides raw damage to physical based damage users. Overload. Don't really recommend unless it's a singular big target. Smaller enemies go flying around too much, thus more running and less DPS. But here's an example. Dendro. Quicken into Aggravate. Any combination of 2 Dendro and 2 Electro. This reaction adds a flat damage bonus to a character's attack. Lastly, Rainbow. Basically just one different type of element for each character in your squad. You can mix and match to your liking. Final thoughts. Beidou is a great character overall. I've long used her ever since the early days of Genshin. She isn't as Constellation hungry as other characters out there too. Also, I just enjoy everything about her, from looks to lore to her gameplay. If you do end up getting a Beidou in your summons, I'd recommend leveling her up and definitely adding her to a team of yours. Officially done with Beidou. This one I love because I'm just a really big fan of Beidou as a whole. But yeah, hopefully I did well in providing all this information within a condensed time period. Many thanks to those who watched this throughout. If you enjoyed or disliked today's video, you can either drop me a like or a dislike. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Also, if you like, press that subscribe button to keep up to date with future content. Would appreciate that. Anywho, I'm Rad. You're all awesome. See you later.